Welcome to On Air. I'm Kelly Murphy, and today I'm joined by Liz Moscrop of GearUp TV, who was just recently at the Dubai Airshow. Hi Liz, how are you doing today?
Hello, Kelly. I am well, thank you very much. It was great to be there.
Liz, it was the first international air show that people were brought back together face to face since the pandemic. Tell us what the energy was like there.
Literally everybody I spoke to lit up like a lighthouse when you said, how is it to be back and in person with people again? Everybody, CEOs to very new entrants to the industry. It was fabulous.
Now, during the show, it appeared that there were a lot of themes that came out of it, and one of those I heard constantly was sustainability. What were some of your observations about that?
I think that was the number one theme of importance for everybody. You had all of the major OEMs were touting what their new designs were in terms of saving fuel, for example. We saw Airbus with the A220. We saw Rolls-Royce there with the it's working with Tecnam to create something called the P-Volt, which is a hybrid electric aircraft which will run on fuel and electric in the interim, but they are aiming to have that enter into service, I think 2025. But of course, they've just done their round the world flight too with the Spirit of Adventure. So I spoke with John Kelly about his plans and Rolls-Royce's plans.
So the really exciting presence at this Dubai Airshow is Tecnam P2012. This is an airframe that we will build on with our P-Volt electric technology. This gives us the platform to develop regional zero emissions propulsion for a regional operator, bringing connectivity to areas where that really is the benefit. And providing the low carbon technologies that we're all aiming for.
Everybody is keen to reduce carbon emissions and achieve jet zero as soon as possible.
Now also, how about in the order aspect? I know that there were some announcements for new orders at the air show.
That's right. It was 412 new aircraft in total, I believe. You know, that Dubai Air Show for me is always the one where you see these mega orders. You know, you see the Emirates, you see the big airlines come out in force and make their orders. And what was very interesting to see was there were announcements there was a plethora of new African airline startup.
The trends I'm seeing in the Middle Eastern region are growth, expansion, and the push towards new technology and sustainability. The biggest carriers of the region are all looking into the continent of Africa to generate more passenger growth and traffic for their hubs. Emirates has purchased a stake in Rwanda, Qatar a stake in Rwanda's new airport, with Egypt they're establishing airlines in Ghana, as well as Sudan.
So it seems to be that the industry, well, it's not fair to say it's recovered fully. There were certainly some green shoots for a recovering industry. So yeah, all the big order announcements, I think it's the world's biggest for orders as far as I know. I think it's even bigger than Paris or Farnborough.
So Liz, you stopped in to see GEFAS. What are some of the highlights of their representation at the show?
Well, of course, they have very strong relations with the Middle East and customers in the Middle East. So Christophe Robin, who is their communications director, was explaining that they had Safran there, they had Dassault there. So they have interests right across the spectrum of aviation. So in the military, the civil and the business aviation aspect. And he was telling me that it's a very, very powerful show. And he felt that it had really helped to strengthen the ties that the two countries, UAE and France, have enjoyed, and that being there on site made a really significant difference to the way they're able to develop business, much more so than 2 years of Zoom. So he was very positive and was one of the larger country groups on site at the show. There are always lots of country pavilions, but the Givin, the French, were definitely among the largest.
Today, for the first time, we are more than 55 companies exhibiting here in Dubai. These 55 companies, federated by GIFAS, are from big partners like prime contractors such as Airbus, Thales, Dassault Aviation, or Safran. So for us, the Dubai Airshow is the show of the recovery, and we are happy to be there. It's a rendezvous that we couldn't miss.
Now the exhibit hall seemed very busy, lots of static displays, new technology happening in the exhibit hall. What were you seeing there?
There was it was the second outing for Dubai Airshow's technology partner, Edge, which had a huge range of products. It's more of a defense technology partner, but it was the biggest booth on the floor. And they had autonomous systems, they had training, they had MRO, they had AI, they had intelligence, they had unmanned systems. And it was very interesting to see quite how much that has grown in the 2 years since it first came out. It was a very, very busy site as well. And so there was a constant buzz of energy. And in fact, the International Aviation Women's Association also had a conference on day one, and Women in Aviation held their traditional breakfast. There was a big focus on, which is lovely to see, big focus on bringing more women into the industry and how we do that. So very, very buzzy.
What was the showstopper really at the air show in terms of the flying display?
There were the wonderful military teams, as always. They're fantastic and wonderful to watch. But what was really, I think, a real showstopper and crowd pleaser was the brand new Boeing 777X, which has two new General Electric 9X engines, and they're smaller than its predecessor. And the key thing about this, though, is it has folding wingtips that allow for an extended range of 7 meters to our point of sustainability. And everybody was it was like, I remember years ago being at the Paris Air Show and the A380 debuted. Everybody was as entranced, I would say, by this brand new aircraft. So when that was in the sky, I always loved seeing the big airliners do a slow flight display, but that one was certainly a big talking point at the show.
Now, you spend a lot of your time covering the business aviation segment, and I know there was a number of new announcements, but how about your chat with Embraer?
Oh, Embraer was fantastic. Yeah, I got to speak with Arjan Meyer, the president and CEO, and again, he was talking to how important it is that the industry is sustainable.
Embraer has embraced, on the sustainability front, the 2050 zero emission targets that the industry has set itself. Last week only, we presented 4 new concepts that we are studying in the below 50 seat segment. They're only paper airplanes for now, but it's very important to tell the market where our head is on future technologies and applications on potential products. We're inviting partners to talk to us how they believe it's going to evolve and where we can work together. We're also looking forward to have discussions with airlines how they believe the future is going to evolve. But let's not forget, we already have the E2, which is a significant improvement over the previous family, and any fuel reduction that we can realize today we should reduce, because fuel that we reduce today will never have to be replaced by alternate fuels, will never have to be done by hydrogen, will never have to be offset. And we have a more than 17% reduction from the E2 compared to the E1. So that's a great jump, and that's why we're also looking at a turboprop. We believe the turboprop is a technology that can, on the shorter range, offer a significant reduction in CO2 footprint. So Embraer is doing everything it can on the short term to reduce fuel burns, but we're also looking ahead on how new technologies can help us achieve the 2050 targets.
The business aviation industry in some areas of the world, you cannot buy a private jet for love nor money, even at that level. So Airbus got really high hopes for the corporate versions of its ACJ-220 and ACJ-350.
It's a real game changer. It's a new market segment that we call extra large business jet. It's a real biz jet in the way it works. It's at the sweet spot of three dimensions, which are very important for our customers. The comfort, because first thing you are looking for is comfort. You need to achieve the range you want to achieve, and the economics, because this kind of aircraft and tools are also business tools, and our customers are not only individuals who want to travel for leisure, they are also businessmen, and they are analyzing how much it costs for the operation, and the ACJ-220 will cost in operation 30% less than the BizJet. I love this aircraft. She's operated by Acropolis, designed by Alberto Pinto, Yves Picard more precisely, and I really love this cabin. It's spacious, very comfortable. You see where we are seated, and it's 3 living zone plus the bedroom and the bathroom, plus a wide galley and rest crew rest compartment in the front. It can achieve 6,000 nautical miles, so it can fly the world with this aircraft. It's really a nice aircraft to show. It's brand new. I started the operation in 2020, and it's for charter. If one day you want to charter it, you can do it.
And Dassault Falcon Jet 2 with their 10X. They had the mock-up for the 10X and the mock-up for the 6X.
Today we feel much better or much stronger than what we were in 2020. And this is not only for Dassault, it's also good for the whole industry. We see, for example, that right now the level of flight compared to 2019, it's in excess to 20%. So that's also a great sign for the business aviation in general.
That was very encouraging to see that side of the industry flourishing again.
What about Bombardier? I know you spent some time speaking with Bombardier.
Yes, Bombardier had their 7500 on the Static, which is their state-of-the-art aircraft. And I spoke to Wasim Sahed, their head salesperson for the Middle East.
So the Global 7500 is very dear to me because I started selling this platform when we launched it back in 2009. What's interesting is about the Global 7500 is we've learned very well from the previous platform. So Bombardier has been very strong in always developing new programs. It does a 4-zone, it does a 7,700 miles, which was originally 7,400. The approach speed and takeoff speed of this aircraft is about 109 knots, I would say, which is equivalent to a very, very light jet.
I think it's fair to say absolutely everybody that I spoke to, the first thing they spoke about was the different technologies and the different ways they're looking to be sustainable, not just in terms of their aircraft build, but also their ways of behaving as companies. You know, now that we've got a lot of hybrid working or actually out on the airfield itself, you know, different ways of saving energy.
Now, I know that when we talk about artificial intelligence, satellites, that technology also seemed to be a recurring theme at Dubai.
It's massive, and it's really what's shaping the industry of today and tomorrow.
We're excited to announce today the completion of the acquisition of Fly2Air, with which we are also announcing the creation of a 7th strategic business unit called Connected Aviation Solution. It's about optimization of flight path, it's about the use of artificial intelligence in the aviation sector, and as we know, these have been very important themes throughout this recovery after the pandemic.
There's a lot of potential, and as with any new tech, it's, well, how do we make sure that we're building something sustainable and holistic? Another key theme, and so much so they had a whole tranche on it, was 5G and the implications of how can we use 5G in terms of connectivity, the passenger experience, or ground to air communications? Where is it allowed? Where is it not allowed? I think one of the big themes out of the show was connectivity. So I spoke with the British company OneWeb CEO, Ben Griffin, who was highly positive about the expansion of satellite air-ground communications and the potential for his company. And certainly in terms of satellite tech, that's light years away from where it was even 2 years ago.
So OneWeb is being disruptive in quite a few ways, really. So we're bringing industry-changing levels of bandwidth and capability to the market. We're bringing low latency, which is really important now with the proliferation of 5G applications, making user experience far better, enabling cloud experiences in IoT and all sorts of other areas. So really it's completely changing the satellite connectivity paradigm and bringing much more power to the hands of passengers, stakeholders, airlines, and everyone that interacts with them. It's very exciting.
Well, and I think, like you said, the themes that came out of it, sustainability, connectivity, these are things that we as an industry, as we come back from, post-COVID life, it's really nice to see that the industry is harmonious, working together, finding new solutions, and really getting back to what we do best, which is to travel and connect with one another all across the world.
100%. And I think again, with what people are looking at, one of the sense I got from the show is that we're talking about mobility, urban air mobility, not simply let's take an aircraft from point A to point B across continents or across country, but literally with eVTOL and electric, how can we get across town? And how can we do that in a sustainable way that is going to be kind to the environment? So the sense I have of the show is that people have been suppressed, but during that suppression, they've said, right, what can we build? How can we move forward? What do we need to do to change things? And there was so much innovation, so much incredible tech on display. I think the reverberations from Dubai will be felt for several years. It was a great opening salvo.
It sounds like the Dubai Airshow brought back the industry in a great fervor with sustainability, connectivity, all kinds of innovation, and we appreciate all your highlights.
Thank you, it's a pleasure.
I'm Kelly Murphy with On Air. We'll see you next time.